The rule of law is really the essence of civilization. Without law, without rules that people know that are fairly enforced, what you have is either anarchy or dictatorship. So it's important that we create a system within nation states and universally throughout the world that allows people to know that they're going to be treated in a particular manner, and in that process they're going to be treated fairly. The way you start with the rule of law is you create rules that are essentially seen as fair. You create laws and systems of laws that apply universally to everybody, no matter what their status within the society. Within that, you create a system of procedural fairness so that people perceive that the laws are being applied fairly. And what's critical about that is that you can apply a law fairly, but if you don't apply it in a manner which is seen to be fair, you're going to get the same resentment that you would get if the law itself were unfair. The rule of law should be expressed everywhere. It should have that as a principle for every nation on the planet. That's obviously not the case. One can think of many countries right now where it's fairly clear that the rule of law doesn't exist. Syria is a classic example. Right now, there is no law in Syria except that of the gun. The result is that people are fleeing Syria and causing enormous problems because of the huge refugee wave that's flowing out of Syria to the rest of the world. The Syrian problem is difficult. In the short run, when you have people fleeing a chaotic situation where there is no rule of law, you have to provide safe havens for them. And the international order, under a rule of law system, will do that. We're struggling with that right now, really, frankly. But if we do it right, the outcome for those refugees will be better. In the long run, it's finding a way to impose the rule of law within Syria itself. Now, that's even more challenging, I think, than dealing with the refugee crisis. Because as it stands right now, the sides in that war are both intractable and have outside foreign help that allows them to continue to pursue the murderous rampage that's going on there. The way you teach rule of law is one of the things that we at Justice Speakers Institute are hoping to do by creating the Justice Speakers International. Justice Speakers International was created separately because of concepts like international use of drug court and the international application of the rule of law. You can't make people accept the rule of law, but fundamentally, people, when they understand the concepts, tend to apply them. And the more we can spread the concept of rule of law, the safer all of us are in this world. One of the classic examples of how you turn a brutal dictatorship and turn it into a country of rule of law would be South Africa. If you look at Nelson Mandela, a man who had every reason to hate, and what he did as he came out of prison to take over the government of South Africa, you can see how a person who's committed to rule of law can take a society and transform it. Whether his changes, whether his approach lasts in South Africa is a separate question. But he himself is a classic example of what an individual can do to apply the rule of law in a nation that really didn't have it. The idea that Nelson Mandela was trained as a lawyer, I think is important because he really understood the concept of rule of law. It's something that we who spend our lives in the justice system really have a better grasp of than your average citizen. It's part of the reason why Justice Speakers International was created. We want to help teach the rule of law.